Spending on pokies has been trending downwards nationwide for the past several years. The Problem Gambling Foundation says the increased popularity of online gambling could be a contributor. Counsellor Thomas Moore joins me now to discuss the effect of online gambling in Dunedin. Good evening, Thomas.
Kia ora, Rebecca.
Now, with less gaming machine venues in the city, more people turning to online gambling, what are some of the issues that you're now dealing with?
Well, just make a little correction there. I'm not sure it was the Problem Gambling Foundation that put that opinion forward that we thought it was going to online. We're not so sure about that at all. Gambling has been trending down both in numbers of machines, although when the machines go down in numbers, often the throughput through the machine goes up anyway. But it's hard economic times too, and we notice that here in Dunedin.
What's the appeal of online gambling versus sitting at a machine?
There are 3 or 4 bad hallmarks of any kind of gambling, and online gambling and pokie machines hit home for all of those hallmarks. One of them is the speed of the play. The quicker you play, the more addictive it is likely to be. So a pokie machine's really fast. About 700 bets per minute is fairly typical on a pokie machine. And obviously you can gamble pretty quickly online too. The other is lack of sociability. So isolating yourself from people, because theoretically if gambling is recreation, we should be sharing it with some people doing something that's positive in human terms. And the third one is quick access to plastic money. Most of us, when we use a credit card repeatedly or an EFTPOS card, we're not quite aware of how much we've spent. So pokie machines and online gambling both hit all those buttons. What
kind of a problem is gambling in Dunedin at the moment?
Gambling in Dunedin strikes me as being a very consistent problem. I've been here for 12, 13 years now, and the numbers that turn up each year, they turn up in a very erratic way, but the numbers between ourselves and the Oasis Centre, who also provide gambling treatment, remain pretty consistent. If I was to characterise what it was about, we see some who get into serious trouble, and we'll see them in the court news every now and then. But for a larger number, they're spending most of their discretionary income and going nowhere.
Is there a different strategy that's used to help people who are addicted to online gambling versus sitting at a machine?
No, not particularly, because both of those, like I said, have very similar characteristics. And if you think of the technology that you're sitting in front of, it's very similar sitting in front of a pokie machine or having your laptop open in the middle of the night lying in bed or whatever. Whereas some other forms of gambling, like TAB betting, would be quite different to that, and we might take some different approaches.
Do the numbers of people coming to you for help fluctuate at all?
They do throughout the year, but at the end of any given year, they're pretty consistent.
Is there any particular point in the year that's worse than another?
Most of my presentations tend to be in late autumn, early winter.
Oh.
I'm not quite, and they seem to have been delayed this year. I suspect, I've no idea, I'm really guessing, but I suspect it's got to do, we do have a sense in Dunedin of the world closing in a little bit as winter comes on, and people feeling less open and wanting to deal with issues rather than suffer them through.
Do you think there's now more awareness of problem gambling in the community?
That's hard to tell. For me, problem gambling has been a phenomenon in the community since I first began working with it. People are often opinionated about the rise and availability of gambling in New Zealand over the last 20 years or so.
Counsellor Thomas Moore from the Problem Gambling Foundation, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Rebecca.